In Chapter 2, Brims discusses issues related to culture that are important to consider when working with children in the therapeutic relationship. To begin, she introduces and discusses the ideas of race, ethnicity, culture, and minority status. I appreciate her perspective here as she highlights multiple levels of diversity. I also appreciate that she discusses minority status and relates it to the notion of oppression. For a lot of years, the United States has been described as a cultural melting pot. Recently, new scholars have highlighted that this is, in and of itself, an oppressive stance to take. The understanding of the melting pot society was that everyone who came to America abandoned their own culture and became part of the larger American culture. More recently, America has been described as a pluralistic quilt. The difference here is that from this perspective, individuals maintain their cultural heritage and bring this with them to America. The result is a society that is strengthened by all of the unique cultures present. The demographics of our nation are changing. Here I've highlighted just the increase in non-white residents of the U.S. since 1980. Does anyone know what the stats are from the 2010 census? I wonder what these numbers would look like now. Regardless of the demographic makeup of our society, we as counselors have an ethical duty to understand and honor the cultural identities of our clients. As you think about becoming a culturally sensitive child clinician, remember that your own development, especially if you grew up in the United States, may have been impacted by biases, stereotypes, and prejudices. We've all heard stories of how discrimination has led to violence. In my lifetime, I think back to the Rodney King incident in LA during the early 90s as one example of this. Brims makes a point that while overt discriminations have historically led to violence, some of the covert discrimination we might experience is even more damaging and serves to perpetuate stigma and stereotypes, even more so than overt discrimination. Many times in discussions of multicultural issues in counseling, you'll see the words awareness, knowledge, and skills. To me, this speaks to the complexity of this type of work. If you remember that each of us comes from a unique culture, then these different levels of interaction might serve to inform all of your practice. First, you absolutely must recognize your own biases, beliefs, and attitudes regarding cultural diversity. I don't really care who you are or how culturally aware you might be. We all have blind spots. We all have areas of ourselves that have never been challenged, therefore we've not paid any attention to them. Take it upon yourself to pay attention. Listen to what your gut tells you about people, and then challenge that. Are your beliefs about people who are different from you based on what you were taught? Based on what the media portrays? Based on personal experience, either negative or positive? Or are your beliefs about people who are different from you based on your intentional process of self-discovery and awareness? After you've taken steps toward becoming more culturally aware, your second responsibility is to enhance your knowledge base concerning different cultures. This might seem to be a daunting task. You'll find once you're in the world of work that there are specialists who can help you with different cultures. In fact, this is a mandated requirement for some agency work. You might work with clients who are African American, and in order to demonstrate cultural competency, one of your tasks will be to meet with a special populations consultant. These are individuals who have specialized knowledge regarding different cultures and who are contractors with different agencies to provide this service. Your skill set will be flexible depending upon the cultural characteristics of each client. The most important piece here, I believe, is to remain flexible. Remember to use that stance of openness and curiosity in your work and discover what works for each client. Cultural sensitivity is an ongoing process. Again, supervision and personal counseling might be great strategies for you in your efforts to become a culturally sensitive counselor. You will all soon learn just how different each counseling relationship will be. A large part of the complexity and ambiguity that is inherent in the counseling process stems from the complexity and uniqueness of each client. Each client has unique traits that they will bring into the counseling relationship, just as you have unique traits that you will bring in. Additionally, there are social characteristics that will impact the process, and there are counseling characteristics that play into the complexity of the counseling process. Brown's figure on page 55 is a good depiction of the multiple levels of interaction that might exist in the relationship. In Chapter 3, we will review developmental tasks and stages that will be important for you to remember as you think about working with children. Additionally, I have included a developmental milestones chart in your Blackboard shelf for Module 1. You might want to print off a copy of that while you review Chapter 3.